Alright, my friends, I'm back. I'm back with, I guess you could say, step 2 of this tutorial of my Love and Hope lace sweater. A crochet piece that I designed just to share with my friends, just as my way of giving back. Even though it's my birthday, I still like to give you something for all your support. So, this is the one that I'm working in real time because it's so quick and easy. I'm telling you, you're going to love this. I think, look, I want one in every color. So now let's go and see if we can get on the same page. Make sure. All right, so when I left the tutorial on part 1 or step 1, all right, we had done all the neck. I had, we separated the two fronts, and you can see 11 inches, the little formula that I gave you. You see, that's quite a large neck. So just try that, you know, going forth as you make more of these sweaters. See, because that's pretty large, you know, because we took a stitch out on each side. And if you take more out on each side, you're going to have a really, you know, wide neck that really won't look very pleasing. So on this side, this is the side that when I left, we had worked at least 4 rows of just the 8 double crochet border, you know, 8 stitches, and I worked 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So as I'm coming back, this will be the 5th row. You see, I started coming back, working that. Then I stopped to go over here to show you how. Let's see if I was even on camera. I was a little bit on camera. Okay. Well, I stopped to show you how to connect on this side because a lot of people, you know, maybe get confused on connecting. This will be the left front. Here's the right front as we go over. Does that make sense? The thing of it is just to get down to 8 double crochets. Just take 1 out of the first row we did, like I shared with you. So now I'm down to 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Always count every once in a while to make sure you have it, that you didn't forget to go into the post as you're crocheting back and forth, and you wind up with 6, 7, 6, whatever. And then, of course, you had to go right back into the filet crochet, skip 1 box, chain 1, skip 1, chain 1, skip 1. All right. So now we're on the same page. And I have worked 4 rows to match this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I chain 3 and turn, you can see I'm on the 5th row. So this is where I want to pick up, because now we're going to add our little lace. And this lace is just one that I made up. It's just something that I just, you don't have time to look for stitches. Sometimes you don't need to look for stitches, people. You know enough stitches. If you just want a little accent or a stitch here and there, just use something you already know. Something, keep a little scrap ball of yarn and practice it and go, oh yeah, that'll work. So as I'm coming back now, I've done 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. Working back and forth. You can see where the filet crochet starts and stops, and you can see my 8 double crochet border to match this side. It's best to do this side first, and I'm going to show you why. So that's why the yarn is already attached to this side, because that's where we left. So let me show you how to do it from this side as soon as I get a little yarn. You might know I didn't have my yarn straightened. All right, let me straighten it back. All right. So I'm working over now. I'm just working over, doing my double crochet border. And like I said, every once in a while, once you start going down the front, just always check, count it, every so many rows, just to make sure you still have your right number. So, in the post, this counts as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we're together. This is putting in the little lace right here in the sweater as we go over. So once I do 8, I see now I need to go back into the filet crochet. This time I'm going to chain 2. 1, 2. Okay, chain 2. Now skip 2 boxes or 2 squares. 1, 2. You see that? I'm going to skip this square, and I'm going into this one, and I'm simply going to do a 3 double crochet cluster. Let's go. Yarn over, go into the square, pull up a loop through 2, stop. We're going to do 3. Yarn over, go back through that same square, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. I have 3 loops on the hook, 1 more. Yarn over, go through the square, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. Now I have 4 loops on the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull through all 4 loops, and that's your cluster. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We have 3 clusters, or 3 double crochet clusters, and we're going to chain 3. I'm going to go ahead and get me enough yarn right now before I get too far. All right, so I've chained 3. Now I go back into that same square, and I do it again. Let's go. Yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. Yarn over, go through, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. Yarn over, go through the square, pull up a loop, go through 2 till you have 4 loops on the hook. Then pull through all 4, chain 2, 1, 2. I need 2 chains to get across. So that's why we're chaining 2, because we are going to skip how many squares? We're going to skip 2 squares. 1, 2. All right, when I skip the next 2 squares, I go into the next square, and I do the same. 3, 1, 2, 3. 4 loops on the hook. Pull through all 4, tighten up a little bit. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now repeat that cluster in the same square. 1, 2, and 3. 4 loops on the hook, pull through all 4, chain 1, 2. All right. So now you can see it spread out a little bit. See that? All right, we're going to do 1 more. I only put 3. I just wanted a little accent. I didn't want to fill it up, and it looked really great. I was happy with oops, I hit the camera, sorry. Let's see if I'm still on since I hit it. Yeah, I think I'm okay. I don't seem to have as much light in here tonight or something. All right. Sorry, I'm sitting under the window and the birds are chirping. After I chain 2, skip 2 squares. All right, let's do it 1 more time. 1, 2, and 3. Pull through 2 loops. I have 4 on the hook. Pull through all 4. Chain 1, 2, 3. Same thing in the same square. Yarn over. That's 1, 2, and 3. 4 loops. Pull through all 4. Chain. Now, since we're done, we want to chain 2. 1, 2. Does that make sense? 1, 2. Now, but we still skip 2 squares. 1, 2. Now, this time, we go into the last double crochet right there. We skip the 2 squares. 1, 2. Now, there's a double crochet, so that's where I'm going to start my filet crochet back. So I need to double crochet there. And look, we're back in business. Chain 1, skip 1. chain 1, skip 1, chain 1, skip 1, and you will continue across working in the filet crochet square pattern as we were working. But you have set in your first row of your little cluster stitches that we will take over. Alright, so now what I want you to do is continue across this row, all the way across, then turn the work and come back in the filet crochet and stop, and I'll tell you the row 2. This was row 1 of our little clusters. Okay, and I simply made a second row to get back over so we can start again. So it's really simple. So I will be right back once I finish this row and come back. Alright, back in just a minute. Alright, so I am back, and as you can see, I am on the wrong side because you can see my mark right there. I marked my wrong side, so when it's time to sew, I don't make a mistake. So make sure, if you haven't done it, you should have it done by now, but if you haven't, make sure you put some contrasting yarn or something so that when we get ready to sew, you will know the front from the back. Alright, and then real quick before I get started again, I need to make a correction because I didn't want to have to undo that little segment. Alright, I said for your neck, I gave everyone the same number to try on these sweaters that we're doing with the filet crochet. And I said, I said 11 inches, but it was 11 squares. Do you remember the little formula that I gave you in step 1? Everyone, everywhere, every size. I said start with 11 squares first. And then that way, when we took the extra stitch off here, that made 11, 12, and then one over here, 13. So you can see that the neck comes out a lot wider than you think because the yarn, everything stretches. Next thing I want to, it's not a correction, but the next thing I want to say is, if you have a lot more filet crochets than I did, I had 24, to kind of start with. But say if maybe you had, I don't know, 30 something or whatever. Anyway, if you have more room and you would like 4 of these clusters, go ahead and put 4. I said 3, that's because I did 3. And if I had done 4, I wouldn't have had many. Just make sure you have some filet crochet clusters left on this side. So if I had put 4, I would have been running maybe a little too close. So I stopped at 3, but by all means, I like to give you some choices so you can know how to design as you're going. And if you see that you have a whole lot, or your side over here is much larger or wider than mine, and you want to put 4 of these clusters, 1, 2, 3, 4, go ahead. Like I said, as long as you have filet crochets on this, some left. Alright, so I have worked back. I said all that so I wouldn't have to redo that other section. Oh, as it gets hotter, as the summer gets hotter and more humid. Of course, it's at night and I'm sitting under the window, but, I'm going to be moving this thing right along this year. I think I'll be going a lot faster. I don't think you'll have to worry too much about me. It will be like, okay, I got to get through with this. I'm burning up. So I am working back on the wrong side so I can show you row number 2. I kept it really simple and easy. It's we just want to have a back side to the sweater on this side and keep it moving. So I've got to work back up to where the filet crochet stops. Alright, you can see right here, that's where the filet crochet stopped, and that's where I added the clusters. You see that? Okay, so when I get there, I'm going to chain 2. Remember, we had to start chaining 2. Then I go all the way to the center of the cluster. You see the cluster there? I'm going to that space there. And I'm simply going to put a V-stitch, which is 1 double crochet, 1, then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then the second double crochet to form the V. And there it is. See it right there? 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1 double crochet in the top of the cluster. Now I chain 2 to get across. 1, 2, go to the center of this cluster. I'm going to put a V-stitch. See, I'm just using something simple to get across the back. Chain 1 double crochet, chain 1, 2, 3. The second double crochet in that same space, chain 2, 1, 2. All right, I'm up to the last one for me, but if you want 4, you can have 4. I like for you to make decisions. 1 double crochet, chain 1, 2, 3. Then the second double crochet. All right, and that's the last one. Now I need to go over to where I do my border. So I chain 2, 1, 2. I only need 2 to get there. And then, of course, I go back into 8 double crochets. Or whatever number, if your number was different. As long as your 2 fronts match. You don't have to match my 2 fronts. You just want your 2 fronts to match. Whoops, get a little yarn. I'll just go all the way here to the end. So this is just the little, see that nice border? Now we can put some trim like I have on mine once we finish the sweater. But this is actually the border here that we're including, which I try to do in a lot of my sweaters. So I don't have to pick up. Okay, now see, if I was talking and stop, let me count. Let me just show you how you need to count sometimes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, I could have been talking and forget to go into the post. You have to go into the post right there to keep the post nice and clean and the edge nice and clean. So I put 1 more double crochet. 1 more double crochet there. Now I'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'll turn the work, and of course I'm on the right side, and I'm ready for the cluster again. The clusters are on the right side. The V-stitches are made on the wrong side, and you can see them pop up there. So it's only 2 rows. Trying to keep it simple and just a little touch of something. All right, now guess what? We're going to continue to work these 2 rows all the way down, and I'm going to work down, oh, I don't know, 10 or 12 inches or so, or whatever, or 8 to 10 inches. I'm going to work down the front, then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to show you how to work the other side, how to get the right, where to put the clusters on the right side of the sweater. So, as you can see, all you have to do now is just work back and forth. And now you're just adding these 2 rows. Clusters on the right side, V-stitch on the wrong side. Isn't that pretty and simple? I just love this green. Green is one of my favorite colors. So, look, people, I'm trying to use up some of this yarn. I have so much yarn. Oh my gosh. And then I went and bought some the other day. I don't know. I was feeling like I need to go spend money. Anyway. But you know what? I believe I can use these. I think I will enjoy wearing these. And you saw me in the blue one. It felt great. All right, so I will see you back after I've worked some more rows. All right, I'm back so that we can make sure that we're on the same page. When I left you on the last portion, last little section of this tutorial, I had started to work down. I had worked the 4 rows, then I started working down. Everywhere was working down the front, putting in that simple 2-row little simple lace repeat. Okay, now when I worked down, I worked because, let's see how many remember the little information I gave you about when you get to the bottom. Everywhere, try to go at least 2 inches longer than the back, because once we sew up the side seam, it's going to push the extra fabric up into the bust area like this to give you some positive ease. Now if you're really tall, if you're real tall and maybe you're really large, you might try 3 inches, but now you can't go too much over that, otherwise the whole sweater is going to be thrown out of proportion. But I know 2 inches works, and it works well. And so when I got to the bottom, let me tell you how many I had. I'm just for your information, I simply counted just these little what do you call it, clusters. I just counted each little section of clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down. And by the time I added the 2 inches, I have 18 clusters when I was counting down. 17, 18. All right. And I ended on the row that has, on the wrong side, that has just the V-stitch. So that's where I want to end. I want the V-stitch at the bottom. I think that kind of flows better than ending with the cluster. But for my, short frame, it took, with the extra 2 inches, it took at least 18, counting the clusters down. Does that make sense? Are we kind of near the same page? Okay. All right, so now we've done that. Now the next thing I want to do, I'm glad we started on this side because I'm going to tell you how easy it is now to know where to start on that side. So now look here. Everyone, pick up your sweater. We set in here. Like I said, I did 3. Come over to where you have this little 3-stitch, the double crochet, three double crochet borders. Hope y'all hadn't forgot that. Now we have 3 double crochets, and then you start your chain 1, skip 1. All right, count how many empty squares do you have before you get up to the actual pattern right there. So I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of the filet crochet little squares before I get right here where I need to go into chain 2 and then go into the cluster and the same stitch you just finished. Does that make sense? So that's why it was so nice to be able to just count these and not trying to figure out something else. Alright, so now let me show you how it's going to work. Let me just reposition the sweater. I'll be right back. Alright, so now I am on the right side of the fabric. This is the back, and here's the right side because I have the wrong side marked. Okay, now I've cut the yarn. Remember, I had to cut the yarn when I went over the other side, so I can always tie a knot and when I need to add the yarn back. But right now, remember, I had counted in from the edge, from these 3 double crochets, my little border stitches, I counted in 9 empty squares. See, it makes it real easy on this side. So I'm going to count in, and that's for me. I don't know how many you, hopefully, you count yours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actual 9 squares. Now I know I need to start with my J-hook. I'm just going to go here, and we're going to start doing the cluster. And to do that, to start, because I have, just like on this side, remember, I crocheted 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm coming back across. This is the 5th row, just like I started that one on the 5th row. Everything stacks up. All right, so now I'm right here, and I want to get into back to my little 2-row lace. I'm just going to chain 2 because I'm at the right square. Now I'm going to skip 2 squares. 1, 2. Remember? Then you're going to start with the cluster, because we're on the right side. So 1, 2, yarn over, go through 3, go through 2. Now you're going to have 4 loops on the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, pull through all 4 loops, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then add the next cluster right to it. That's 1, go over, that's 2, go through 2, 1 more, we did 3, and go through the 2, and you're going to have 4 loops on the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, go through all 4. Now you only have to chain 2, 1, 2, to get over, and you're going to skip 2 squares, 1, 2, just like before, and you're going to repeat the cluster. Let's see if we come out right. 1, 2. I guess I could have checked that first, couldn't I? Okay. All right, everybody pray. Okay. Then chain 1, 2, 3. All right, and then the next cluster, 1. Now maybe I'm going to have to tie my yarn on because I had cut this side. 3. 4 loops on the hook. It's the same thing you just finished. Then chain 1, 2. Then skip 2. 1, 2. Then there. And skip 2. Oh, we're going to come out. All right, now let me tie me on some yarn. So right in the middle of the demonstration, you know I'm going to run out. I just tie a knot. I don't know what's, you know. Do whatever you do, but make sure that you have some yarn on this side. I had cut my yarn, so I have to tie it back on. So I'm just going real quick. I wrap it a couple of times around, and then I just pull it into like a square knot or whatever knot that is. Well, it don't even want to go. Whew, it was hot today. Hot tamale. Alright, so now I've got my yarn tied on so I don't run out right in the middle of the demonstration. Okay, you ready? Alright, so I skip 2, 1, 2. Now I'm in the next empty square, and I do 1, 2, and 3. Go through the 2. Alright, now you should have 4 loops on the hook. Go through all 4 and chain 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I want to make sure we got over there. Alright, now one more in here to match that cluster. 1. Oops. 2 and 3. Alright, got 4 loops on the hook. 1, 2, 3, go through. Now chain 2, 1, oops, 1, 2. Now you should have 2 squares to skip, 1, 2. To get back, you chain 2 and then you skip 2. Now I need to get back to my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Every once in a while, stop and count your front edge in case you just forgot to go into the post somewhere and then you wind up like, oh, my stitches, my front is looking funny. So you just do that every, you know, as you're working down the front, you just stop every once in a while and just check and make sure you have whatever your number is. Okay, so there you have the matching side to the opposite side. Of course, when we turn the work, you're back in pattern. This will have the V-stitch, chain 3, V-stitch, chain 3, V-stitch, chain 3, get back into the filet crochet all the way down. Like I said, it was easy count. I counted these clusters as I went down, and I had 18. You don't have to count everything. I just picked out the clusters. It was easy. 1, 2, 3, and I went down 18. That included my 2 inches at the bottom. All right. Whew, that was quick and easy, wasn't it? All right, so now let's work down this side as we worked on that side. So far, pretty easy, huh? Okay, see you back in a little bit. Think I'll find me a movie. All right, back shortly. All right, so I am back. We are back with like the finishing step or step 2. Now, step 1 was more of, we came up the back and we worked the neck and the shoulders, and then I showed you this 2-row lace repeat to come down each front. And that's where I've just finished both fronts. So I want to go over some things and just kind of catch you up and make sure we're on the same page. Alright, so as you can see, here's one side of my sweater. I won't try to get both sides in, but here's one side, and you see in this green. Isn't it funny that some colors are heavier or work up just a little different, even though they're the same brand yarn? So, look like this one worked up a lot looser, and but that's fine because I'll be able to wear this over sweatpants or more casual. The blue one is definitely looks like it's more dressy. But this one will be my more casual one, because you know I made this second one because I like the pattern, so I like the style. All right, so now you see my lace. Now watch. I'm going to go up and bring it up so I can get the bottom on here. Oh, I know. How about if I do it like this? I want to get to the bottom because I want to remind you of something. Now, let's see if I'm still on. I think so. Let's see, kind of back out just a little bit. All right. All right, now here is the bottom. Here's the front edge of the sweater. And of course, everybody. Now, if you're not large in the bust and you didn't need to go the extra 2 inches, you don't have to do that. It's for us who are a little larger in the bust, so that once we do this side seam that I'm going to show you right now, it will take that little extra fabric and kind of lift it up towards, to push it up towards the bust line. So let me go over here and show you simply by taking you to where I've sewn it up. Now I've sewn the 2 seams up. Get over here in here. All right, can you see that? There we go. All right, so I have sewn up my seam, and of course I have not tied it off. I'd always like to do both my arm spaces and then get them pretty much the same, try to get them nice and equal. But I do leave a long tail, so I'll stick that in there. But there's my arm space, here's my seam, and here is where I've sewn it up. Can you see that? And when I had those 2 extra inches, it don't have to be exactly 2 people, but just go over. I just did this little lace repeat for maybe a couple extra rows, so that I will have a little extra. So once I put the 2 seams together, line them up here at the bottom, that little extra is pushed up into this area. And you'll be able to see it once you put it on, because your bust line is going to fill it out. It just gives a little extra. So let me go over here just so that you can see how it looks. Alright, so now here's the other side that I have not sewn up. And I'll show you, remind you of something else too. Okay, so here is, and let me check my camera. It's a large piece of fabric because we did it all in one piece. And I know. So now here it is. And so when I finished this piece, the front edge was like this. See, I had about 2 inches. Does that make sense? Because I know I could use a little bit extra in the bust line. So, but when I get ready to sew it, of course, I'm going to match them up and try to get that as level, and, try to go across like that, line them up, and then I'm going to work back and forth, or however you sew. My sewing skills in crochet is not as good as my sewing skills in knitting, but I get the job done. But you will sew however you like to sew your seams, or crochet them, or whatever you do, up, 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 and you see that fabric will go up as well. Does that make sense? We've done it before, and even on the knitted sweater, I gave myself that little over, around 2 inches about, and it just made the fit much nicer, at my bust line. Alright, so now that's that. Oh, another thing too I wanted to share with you. Remember I had this little mark up here at the top? The one that I usually forget sometimes, so way past, I'm like, oh man, I forgot to put my little marker. But I went back and I showed you where to put it, like when you set aside the neck and all the stitches for the neck. And we put this little extra marker right there. Remember that? Well, now that's a good place to hold at the top. So once you put these 2 bottom edges together, you have something to kind of show you where the top of the shoulder is, and not try to let me count. You got a little mark there. That's why that mark is important. So I'll have to remember to do it, and not to forget. And then that's one that you need to hopefully remember to put. Just put your mark when you start, like I said, when you close off the neck, or go back and look at the other part, the other step. Alright, let me straighten some of this mess out, and then we're going to work on. I'm going to show you the 2 front edges that you can choose from. The 2 front trims that I think you'll like. Back in just a minute. Alright, so on my blue sweater that I was wearing in the video, this is how I simply made a simple, well, you could stop right here. You know, in crocheting, you stop wherever you want to. It's not quite like knitting. But if you just like a plain edge, because we put this nice border right up the front, that's fine. But you know, now some of you know how to, or have ways that you finagle the yarn and try to close up these holes. You know, they don't bother me. But I decided, why don't I use these holes? See, because they're spaced out just right, and they go right up the front edge. You see that? That's just part of crocheting. All right, so let me, and when you decide, like I said, well, what kind of edging can I do? Remember, another little tip that I gave you, always look and take something from the pattern that you've already used or that you put in the design. Well, you know we made a 3 double crochet cluster in this little lace, right? All right, so let me show you what I did. I just go to the very end down here, get as close to the very bottom, get some yarn, and get enough yarn to start. All right, and another thing, when I'm doing my smaller edge, you know, I want the smaller stitch. This is like an H hook, but I do try to go down and get the pointed heads so that I can do all my trim. Now, most of you already know that who've worked with me. So now I'm going to the very bottom of this as close as I can get without, how about that? I'm at the very bottom. I loop I connect, however you connect, I put a loop, bring it through. Now I go take both strands through, tighten up real tight. Then I drop my little tail. Now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. Alright, now what's the cluster? Remember the cluster. Into that first, see that nice space there, that little hole that's evenly spaced out. And I thought, well, why don't I try to use that? Okay. So what I did was simply make yarn over, just like we did in the lace. Yarn over, go through, pull up a loop, stop, go through 2. Go again, yarn over, go through into that big space, pull up a loop, go through 2, stop. You know you have to do it 3 times. Yarn over, go through there, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. I have 4 loops on the hook, just like I had here. Pull through all 4. Now chain 1, 2, 3. And guess what? That took me right over here to this one, to the next actual hole. Alright, so now I have to single crochet, just like that, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I do the cluster. 1, 2, and 3. When I have 4 loops left on the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, I pull through all 4 and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Move over and look for the next. See, I don't even have to even count now. I can just look for that next little hole that's already there. It's just part of the crocheting edge. Alright, I need to single crochet to connect. Some people might slip stitch. I just single crochet. That way I don't have to think about it. Then chain 1, 2, 3. And then, oops, let me get me some yarn here. And then we will simply, okay, I could have got myself all tangled up. Oh, all right, let's see. And if you get lost, just pull it out and start again. You know, if you don't know if you had the cluster, because you need to end with 4 loops on the hook. Pull through all 4, chain 1, 2, 3, and look, bingo, right there. The next hole is automatically there. Oh, so I need to single crochet. Then we're going to stop a minute. 1, 2, 3, and just take a look at it and see what I have. Let me do this one. Okay, let's just do it real quick. Because you you're already in the flow of this stitch, so why come up with a shell stitch or something else? You already know this one, you just worked it. 1, 2, 3. And it fits perfectly from here to here to here to here to here. I didn't know that. It just happened. Single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's stop and take a look. See, it's so easy because I'm already out. I know the rhythm of that because I've been working it down the front. 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay. Now let me lay it down against my background. And you can see how it just forms those nice little scallops. Just like that, going across. And then by me going down on the crochet hook, the size, this is like an H. So remember, I worked the whole thing in a J. The sweaters worked in a J. But when I want to do my trim work, I like to go down. Try to keep it nice and neat. That one got a little out of hand, so let me just do it again. And that is the simple. All the way around to the opposite side. One, two, three, 4. Pull through all 4. Tighten up. Chain 1, 2, 3. Move over. Single crochet. Now, what do you think? You think that's nice and easy? And it makes an extra edge if you want that. A lot of people don't, sometimes I don't, because to me it just, I don't know, it's a little too lacy. Sometimes it kind of puts a little too much lace for me, but people that like it, that's an easy way to do it. Just one more tip from Jay. So, take a look at that, and then I'm going to show you something else. Alright, I was going to come back and give you the second, maybe another alternative for a little edging, but it's the crab stitch. But in order to do that, you're going to have to work, well, first you have to work a whole row of single crochets from one end all the way around to the opposite end, and then backwards, crochet backwards from that. So what I think I'll do is just simply link you to my wildflower sweater and put a time stamp that says the crab stitch. Then you can watch it and decide if you want to do that. It's mainly for those who are just more seasoned, or like maybe you want something a little different, a little more detail on your sweater. But for those who are just who says, oh no, Jay, I'm fine. I like the little stitch that we've already added, that we've already worked, the little 3 double crochet clusters right here on the edge, just like I just shared with you. And that way I just kind of like to give you some kind of choice sometimes, if possible. But to do the other stitch, you're going to have to spend more time. So instead of doing that again, I'll just link it. Alright, so now to end this video, this step 2, as you can see, I have my sweater laid out. And on this one, I haven't decided, since this is going to be my more casual sweater than the blue one. Only because, like I said, for some reason, this yarn was a little different. The color, the dye in the yarn also makes a difference, whether it's a little rough or if it's a little, or if it stretches more, So I'm going to have this more as my casual one to put on when I'm wearing my sweatpants. Something where I'm going to the grocery store, or going to the Walmart or something like that. Hooray, I got big places to go. Okay, so this one will work out good. So I'm going to leave mine plain for right now. And then I can always change if I want to. And you can also add a little fringe at the front, where we had these stitches here at the end. If you wanted to add some fringe here, if you're a fringe type person, I'm just giving you some suggestions. I'm trying to do that at the end. Then you have a place right here. There's a space right there. There's a space. There's a space. If you'd like to have some kind of decoration, more of a, what do you call it, boho look. You know, if you think, oh, Jay, I like this, it's nice, and this one I made a little by going up to the next odd number than I had. I believe the blue one was, I did 57 filet crochet squares, and this one I went up to 59. And 59, believe it or not, made it a lot looser. So this one is really more casual. But, you know, if I wanted that boho look, I can put a little fringe here, here, and here. That's where I ended my sweater, the front edge. Does that make sense? I'm just giving you little tips. I'm trying to go start doing that critique or giving you little tips at the end of my tutorials. Now, also, when you're doing the little edging that I just shared with you, with the 3 double crochet clusters, as you come up to the neck, if your neck has, remember, I told you knit stretches. That's why sometimes you don't need as many stitches as you think. We use up 11 boxes. And look how much it stretched out. So as I'm doing the neck, when I'm doing that little stitch on the edge, you can tighten up the neck a little bit. So you can skip you may have to, you can skip a stitch. In fact, you'd probably skip 2 stitches. I believe that's what I did when I got to the neck. Since there's not a hole here, okay, I did maybe a cluster where the last hole was right there. Then I'd skip maybe 2 stitches, 2 double crochets, and then do the next cluster. Skip another 2 double crochets, or try 3, and then do the little cluster stitch. Skip. See, that's going to make your neckline come in a little more. So try skipping 2 double crochets and see if it lays nice and smooth. If not, you can try 3, but I think 2 will be enough. Skip 2, then the cluster, that little cluster I just shared with you, chain 3. Skip 2, cluster, chain 3, move on. And see if that will bring your neck and make it nice and smooth. Like I said, either skip 2 or skip 3. Depending on how loose your work looks. And then, of course, when you come on to this side, you get right back, you find those little holes. They're all lined up. You just find those holes to work from, just like we did as we went up the other side, this side. Does that make sense? Well, I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I just want to have this thing to start critiquing or giving you ideas or making sure that you could finish your garment. This is a learning curve for those who are new to my channel. I thank you so much. I thank you for joining me. As you know, I've said in the previous video, June is my birthday month, so all month I'm just going to just enjoy as I approach 74. I don't have no choice in the matter. But I wanted to make sure that, that I try to share as much as I can on my channel with my simple design. These are just things that I design that always work well or I think looks good for my regular lifestyle. You know, I'm just a regular person. I just go to the grocery store and the Walmarts and to the post office, And I just like, a style that's suitable or practical for my everyday life. And I hope you do too. I'm a visual learner, so I do not have written patterns. A lot of you who may be new to my channel may ask, well, Jay, can I just get the written pattern? I don't do written patterns because I work so fast. I've got 8 years worth of large catalog on YouTube with crochet sweaters, crochet shawls, crochet neck warmers, and then I have all the knitted stuff, shawls, sweaters, just the same. So I just simply like taking you step by step. Since I'm a visual learner, I figure, you know what? If I can just show you, you can get it. If I can show you, I believe you can get it. And that's just as simple as I can make it. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you give this sweater a try because it's going to be a go-to sweater. Can you see this in like a pretty pastel pink? Can you see it in a pretty lemon yellow? Can you see it in a dusty mauve? There's just so many things that you could do to just have it like a go-to sweater that can take you right on into the fall. And if you decide to put sleeves in yours, send me some pictures. If you want to work up sleeves, I don't do a lot of crochet sleeves. They're like my nemesis. I have a few things that I do it, but it's not, I'm so used to doing knitted garments with sleeves. But you are welcome. At the end of every video, every tutorial, you will see an Gmail address to send me 2 or 3 snaps of your sweater. Take some really nice pictures. Hang your sweater up. Hang your sweater up on a pretty hanger or something. Look, add yourself a flower so I'll know. So, look, we're connected. Look, so that we'll be sisters of the flower. Flower power. Add yourself a pretty necklace or scarf. You know, show me what you got. And take at least 2 or 3 nice pictures so I can choose. I can choose them all, or if one's a little off, I say okay. But send me more than one, and send it to that address that you see. And then you are going to be so surprised when I put it to music and put you in my showcase. I call it Jay's Friendship Album. I started it back when I started my YouTube channel, and it has grown ever since. Some of you, if you go to the video page of my channel, you can just pull up some of them and just look at some old ones. Oh my gosh, they are so pretty. And a lot of people, I can't tell you how many people who could not fathom knitting a garment. They could, or crochet. They could knit or they could crochet, but they had not really gotten into garment making. So, step by step, now they're garment makers too. And so can you. You can be one too. Alright, so this is Jay. I'm just ending this tutorial. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. We have the whole month of June. I thank you. And, oh, I got to think of something new. I got to think of something else. Or I'll have a couple little small, some tips, a little tip video that I'm going to insert that I'll add in just, in a few days. So, until then, this is Jay, and I will see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.